being joined by Harsha Agarwal, President FICCI, and also Vice President and MD FNCG company Emami. Welcome to NDTV Profit, sir. I would like to start with, the sluggish consumer demand. How you sort of think that government should take fiscal measure to sort of revive this urban consumer demand? What's your key expectation from the upcoming budget?
So when we're talking about the consumption and the consumer demand, see what we have seen that one of the major reason is the food inflation, because if you see typically 75% of the retail purchase, retail spend from the consumer happens in the food and grocery, and only 25% is in discretionary spend. And from that perspective, any impact on the prices in food has a very direct impact on the discretionary spend. So from that perspective, one of the important factor for the demand and consumption to improve would be how do we have the food inflation under control. And from that perspective, I think the building of the infrastructure, the logistic model park, and ultimately how the warehousing, the cold storage chain, etc. All these initiatives will help in improving the overall availability of the food items and somewhere, helping the food inflation to come down.
Yeah, of course. But, you have seen second quarter numbers, and we are not, we are talking to experts, even the companies, they are not sort of hopeful about the revival in the demand, anytime soon. So how you think that, what's your outlook for the remaining quarter of the fiscal and also for the next fiscal as far as urban consumption demand is concerned?
See, we have seen some green shoots in terms of inflation coming down, but yes, in fact, from the growth perspective, also GDP, the Q2 has been lower, and one of the major reason also has been because the capex from the government side was lower because of the election in Q1, which we believe will go up in Q2 and Q3, Q3 and Q4, which will certainly help in bringing back the growth rate. And we expect that this fiscal year, the overall growth rate to be somewhere around 6.5 to 7%. Now, in terms of consumption, I think rural, we are seeing good growth in rural. Rural has bounced back from where it was earlier. And in urban, it's the middle class which has been badly impacted, because, and when I say middle class, the lower middle class, the upper middle class, because of the food inflation, and hence that is where they have to cut on the discretionary spend. And I believe, things will improve from here, and to come back to the normalcy, it will take at least around 2 to 3 quarters, but yes, things will improve from here is what I believe.
Of course, you talked about inflation. Of course, it's concerning, particularly the food inflation, which is impacting the, FMCG sector at large. So, monetary policy is the policy which deals with the inflation. With new governor at helm, you think that he's going to take up this challenge of the rate cut? What's your expectation on the rate cut? Do you see anytime soon?
From the industry perspective, yes, our expectation is that the rate cut should happen, because also typically what we have seen, that any rate cut doesn't have much impact on the food inflation. And since the current inflation is mostly in that area, I think going forward from the industry perspective, we would recommend and we would expect some kind of rate cut.
Okay. I mean, are you expecting that in the upcoming February meeting?
Around the February meeting.
Okay. So also you pointed out about the capex, and we have seen the numbers as far as, public sector capex is concerned, why the private capex is not picking up in line on the anticipated line? Why they are not? We are not seeing this spending. Why it's not coming?
See, if you see, even as per RBI estimate, the private capex is estimated to go up to the tune of 50-55% in comparison to last year. So it's not that it's not going up; it has certainly gone up. There are 2-3 other factors, which we need to keep in mind, and also what I believe that right now, according to our estimates, we are at the capacity utilization is somewhere around 74-75%. And typically what we have seen, that's a good inflection point where the industry and the corporate start looking for expansion or capex investment if they get to a level of that kind of capacity utilization. So I think going forward from here, hence that is one criteria basis which I believe the capex should go up. Over the last 2-3 years after the COVID, we have seen the balance sheet of the companies getting deleveraged, and hence again that's a good sign that the private capex will come back. And broadly, my sense is hence going forward, the capex will increase from where we are.
Definitely. I would also hope so. So you again are talking about the profitability of the, companies. It's growing, of course, though, ups and downs keep coming, and that is clearly reflected in the revenue receipts also, particularly the corporate tax numbers. But so somewhere, top policy makers are indicating that though companies are making profit, but it's not reflecting in the wages. What's your take on that?
See, I think in today's competitive world, again, manpower is the biggest asset for any corporate. And for them, it's paramount to retain the quality manpower. And if they are not able to give growth to the manpower, nobody is going to be there with them. The competition is fierce. They are going to push them. So I'm not very sure, on what basis, what is the data point, basis which this comment is there. I need to go a bit more into the detail of that. But at the same time, we need to see what has been the methodology, what has been the process on basis which these numbers have thrown. But I believe, the Indian industry, to be fair to the people, and in case there are always exceptions, if they are not, then they have to, it's not a choice with them.
Okay, absolutely. So moving away from the macro numbers and the macro discussion, some sector-specific question I would like to know, particularly from the point of view of growing, popularity of quick commerce segment. How Emami is making this opportunity, in the company favor? How are you making use of that opportunity?
I think quick commerce is rapidly growing, is what we have seen. Emami again in this segment, because we have seen in the last 4-5 years, 5-6 years, e-commerce grow, and now suddenly quick commerce, which is growing very fast. And as a company, we believe we have to be part of this growth journey. We are also seeing multiple growths in this channel every year, 3 to 4x, and which I believe will be there for the next 2-3 years at least. And hence our focus apart from e-commerce is also there in quick commerce, and how do we have a different strategy from the quick commerce perspective, because the consumer requirement over there is different. They need something, immediately. So even the marketing campaign from our perspective, can we create a separate marketing campaign for quick commerce channels, separate SKU strategy for the quick commerce channels, etc. So we are very seriously looking into this opportunity, and we are very confident that we will be able to exploit this opportunity.
Definitely, sir. Sir, on the competition side, how are you seeing the entry of foreign brands? How are you tackling with on that? Because Emami being a homegrown FMCG brand, it's a household name. How are you tackling with these competition, foreign brand competition?
I think foreign brands, multinational, has been there in India since ages. Unilever, P&G, so many L'Oreal, so many companies has been there. So we are not worried about foreign multinationals or foreign brands as such, because ultimately we believe we can compete with the best of the brands and best of the companies globally. Yes, in fact, we have been, if you see, many Indian companies have been able to do quite well, build strong brands around it. So honestly, I'm not worried about that.
Okay. Also, sir, a lot of debate around the, grooming industry. You see that debate as far as sensibility around the grooming, products are concerned. You see that as a challenge at this point of time?
Can you, explain the question a bit more?
Meaning that, so there are a lot of concerns around and the sensibilities around the grooming products. So, Emami being one of the leader in those grooming, products, particularly the fairness cream. Are you seeing that challenge? Meaning, of course, there is a decline in sales there. So that is challenging for you at this point of time.
No, I think as a company we are very, very cognizant about this fact. We have always respected the sentiments of the consumers, because we are ultimately a consumer brand and a consumer company. And going forward also, what I can only assure you from my company's perspective, the sensitivity will always be there.
Sure, sir. Last question, and this one I am personally very curious about that. Emami headquarter is in Kolkata, and a lot of Kolkata once is known for and genesis of many, leaders and many big companies. But over a period of time, we have seen a decline there. A lot of them have moved out. What Emami, looking at in the city, and how you're coping up with the environment, in Kolkata?
So, Emami started in Calcutta.
Yeah.
Yes, there are still many companies headquartered and operating from Calcutta. And honestly, being a Calcutta-based company, I can tell you, we don't face any challenge from the perspective of operating from there. We are very happy operating from there. We have a national footprint with our manufacturing units there across India, and similarly, even offices across India, be it Bombay, Delhi, even in Calcutta. So from our perspective, we don't see much challenge.
Okay. Thank you very much, Harsh, and pleasure talking to you, and thank you for taking out time for NDTV Profit.
Thank you so much for having me with you. Thank you.